a video about this pickled beetroot. So it was cheap and I bought it for the jars. And I made some soup out of the beetroot itself, and it was very nice. It was very nice. It went down very well at the function, and they've requested it again. To be honest, I didn't know how well it would go down. I thought it was delicious, but it's a bit divisive, is beetroot. And I kind of thought that they wanted a cheap function. In my defence, they wanted a cheap function, so I was kind of like, well, it's my rationale is if you want a cheap function, you get what you're given, and I'll make you something nice. And I kind of thought, well, it was beetroot soup, which was people might not like. I thought it was very nice, but it was then a really nice beefy main course, and then it was poached pear and ice cream for dessert, like homemade poached pear. So I kind of thought, like, if I get a bit of stick over the soup, I can say, yeah, but you had a really nice main course and a really nice pudding, and it was very cheap. So, like what do you want type of thing. But it went down really well, and they requested it again, and someone even said that they didn't like beetroot, but that soup was delicious. And I was like, well, then you obviously like beetroot then, don't you? I don't know why I'm saying this, but anyway, I suppose it's kind of a bit of a document what it's like to be I don't think I'm a chef anymore. I'm more of a cook. I'm more of a cook these days. It's more of a document what it's like to be a cook and dealing with people and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's true about a lot of things. Like, a lot of people don't like foods. Well, if they don't like them because of the texture, that's one thing. But if they don't like them for the taste, I kind of think, I know some people can't find coriander tasting soapy. But if it's just that you've had a bad experience with a food, you don't like it, and you probably had a bad experience because it wasn't particularly cooked very well. But this soup was lovely, and it was pink in colour because it was cream of beetroot soup. But it was more of akin to a tomato soup, and if I'd have called it a pink tomato soup, people would have thought it was a tomato soup because I'd washed the beetroot to get rid of the excess acidity, and then you kind of left out with an earthy beetrooty flavour, but not too earthy because you kind of don't want that too much, but like that acidity level of a nice tomato soup. But anyway, we are then now left with two things from this. We are left with the juice that I strained from the beetroots out of the beetroot, so that's the pickly liquid, and then this was I washed the beetroot slices in water to get rid of the extra acidity in them, and then that was this water, and then I reduced it down because I kind of tasted it and I kind of said, oh, that's not bad tasting, is that? So what I thought we'd do is we'd knock things over in the background. I thought what we'd do is we will think about turning that into a cordial. I think we might be able to turn that into a cordial. That might be kind of quite nice. It's still a little bit beetrooty. I've already reduced the liquid down, so it's a nice pretty colour. It's nice and clear. I've reduced it down by quite a bit, maybe down to a quarter of its original volume. And taste-wise, it's a little bit pickly. It's a little bit beetrooty. So I'm knocking it over again. Let's just move that thing out of the way. Sorry, what am I doing? I'm ambushing myself with something that I knew was there. Ridiculous. So, and then I was thinking that there's the cordial drink, shrubs, which is vinegar based and fruity and vinegary. And I think why on earth would you make that? And you kind of go, well, unless in cordials you want that acidity, and you either get acidity from something like a lemon or a lime or an orange, or you get it from vinegar. So we might be able to turn that into like a cordial. So we'll reduce that further down, and then we'll add some sugar and we'll see what happens. And then this, we'll get a clean spoon. So this is the pickly juice. And I thought what we'll do with this is it's a slightly different colour. That's got more of a caramelised colour to it, but that's been cooked. So this, still kind of quite sharp, but fruity in flavour, a little bit earthy. And what I thought we'd do with that is we'll make a fake, what's it called? Balsamic vinegar. So what we'll do with that is we'll strain them both through a cloth to get out any bits, and it's nice and clear. And then we'll reduce that one right down until we get it's quite concentrated in flavour, and then we'll add some sugar, and then we'll kind of see what it tastes like. And it'd be a bit like not a balsamic vinegar, but like a balsamic glaze type of thing, something that you could drizzle over the top of a salad to make it look pretty, type of thing, or to kind of give that bursts of flavour, like quite intense kind of flavours. So reduce that down. We'll reduce it down by half, and then kind of see where we go, and then we'll kind of see what sugar level we want to add to it. And the sugar will thicken it up slightly, so it'll be a little bit syrupy type of thing. So that's what we'll do. And am I going to do some short videos about it? Possibly, although they're a bit of a pain to make. They are quite fun to watch, but they're a bit of a pain to make. So we'll strain it through a cloth, we'll do some reducing, and we'll be back. Fake balsamic vinegar made from the beetroot pickling juice. Strain your beetroot pickling juice through a cloth to get rid of any impurities. Make a note of how much liquid you have. I have 1 litre. Bring up to the boil and reduce it down by half to 500 millilitres. Add 125 grams worth of sugar. Melt it. Taste it. Add a bit of gravy browning to give it a darker colour, so it looks more like that. Add a bit of apple cider vinegar just to give it a bit more acidity. Taste it again. That's surprisingly good. Let it go cold. Put it in the container and use it as a balsamic vinegar substitute. I may have reduced this beetroot juice down. Well, it's not the beetroot juice. It's the liquid that took the excess vinegar out of the beetroot. I may have reduced that down a little bit too much, and we're going to try and turn it into a cordial. But we'll see. Let's give it a taste. I'm heating it up. I don't know if it's going to work, but we'll just give it a taste. I think it'll need a bit of lemon juice in it. Yeah, it's certainly going to need some lemon juice, just to give it a bit of kapow. It's gone a little bit earthy in flavour. Gone a little bit earthy. So it certainly wants some lemon juice just to give it a bit of oomph. And then I'm going to add some sugar, and then we're going to see if it turns into a cordial stroke shrubs. Right. Let's put in another half of the lemon. Turn it down slightly, and then we've got 50 grams of sugar that can go in. Now, there was about 170 millilitres, 170 grams, something like that, of the reduced juice. I can't remember how much it was in the first place, but this is not a video on how to make beetroot cordial. This is a video on if we actually will make beetroot cordial. So it might have been better with lime. I always kind of think red fruits need a better with lime for some reason rather than lemon. I don't know why. Like, I think watermelon prefers lime. I think blackberries. I think lime. I don't know what it is. I think it's probably because they're richer and darker and more interesting flavours, so they need something that's a little bit more fruity and perfumed, which is certainly what lime juice is. So Right, that needs under 50 grams of 25. I've put 25 in. We can always add. Very difficult to take away. I know, I realise I'm using the same spoon that I'm tasting with, but it's only for me, and we're at home. That's generally my excuse for everything. You know, if I'm at home and it's for me, then I can break as many rules as I want, because that's what you're always told as a child, aren't you? Like when you're a grown up, and I do believe I'm now a proper grown up, you can do what you like, and you can certainly do what you like in your own home. So that's kind of quite interesting. Might need a bit more lemon. I'll get another lemon. Right, so that's another lemon. Just strain it so we don't get the pips in. And give it a mix around. And I think we'll be about there. Lovely colour. I mean, look at that for a colour. Now I'm thinking about it, I don't know why. I wonder if anyone has ever done like a balsamic drink. Like a balsamic cordial. I'm not going to try that. Right. Maybe a little bit more sugar. Maybe a little bit more sugar. Just under 25 grams. So that's 100 grams. So we're basically making a half and half. No, not half and half. So 2/3 liquid to 1/3 sugar, because there'll be evaporation, and the juice from the 2 lemons will take it up to about 200 milliliters, 200 grams, something like that. It won't be so with liquids it's an ish. So like water, 100 grams of water is 100 milliliters, but other liquids have a specific gravity, which means they and it's to do with viscosity as well, so they'll have a different, not necessarily 100 grams worth of beetroot juice will be 100 milliliters because of specific gravity. But anyway, it's an ish. You only really have to worry about things like when things start getting thicker, or depending on the ingredients. So in something, so like this is not food, but antifreeze is a lot heavier than water, even though it has a viscosity that's not that much thicker than water, as opposed to oil, which is a lot thicker than water, but antifreeze will still be heavier than oil and water. I've forgotten how much more by. I used to know. That's not bad, that. Right, so we won't let that cool down. What we'll do is we'll turn that off, and we can just add some water to it now. So we'll pause, we'll get some water, and we'll pour that into some water, and we'll see what it's like. Right, so jar with ice in, just to cool it down, and then that much. And we'll see what it tastes like now. Because we've cooked it, it will change the flavour. So that might be kind of interesting, or it might be horrible. Something I'll make last. It's a reminiscence of a cocktail. But anyway, so how does it taste? It's alright. It needs more lemon in it, if I'm honest. But how much lemon do we put in before it turns into not beetroot, more of a lemon cordial? It's alright. It kind of works, but not in an amazing type of way. But not to worry, the fake balsamic vinegar worked. That didn't, but doesn't matter. We can't win all the time, can we?